Welcome back to Trogly's Guitars, Troglodytes. This is a beautiful 1983 Les Paul Custom with all the bells and whistles from the 80s. I really enjoy this one. Bells and whistles, we're talking about the 7-point adjustment bridge, Tim Shaw pickups, posi-lock strap locks, and the coolest feature of them all, the flip-out winding crank tuners. This guitar has them all, and separately you can sell these things for a lot of money. I'm going to make a separate video about each and every one of these parts. I know I've already released the one about the bridge. This is the Les Paul version of the 7-point adjustment bridge. It doesn't have the top adjust part to it, it's just it can be adjusted in 7 different positions, so definitely check out that video if you haven't already. But this is just a beautiful black beauty. 1983, once again, my favorite year for Gibsons because of the Spotlight Special. It's just, the early 80s is a really special time for Gibson because it's just when things started, going back to traditional specs, mahogany necks, and things like that. Now this one still has a maple neck. 83 is the last year for that. I believe it's 84 when the switchover is complete. You can see the face of the headstock has a plethora of scratches and some light nicks and dings from string changes and things like that. I mean, it's been a gigged guitar, it's got some wear and tear to it, but overall it does maintain a fairly clean appearance. Les Paul custom truss rod cover. Once again, you have the original tuners, Schaller made, Gibson branded, but with the crank wind outs. Basically what these are for, real quick, is just for easier string changes. Like if you don't have your speed winder or anything, you break a string on stage, hey, you got these things built right in, you can do it real quick. Original nut on this one yet, as well as the original frets, and fretboard is ebony. Honestly, this is a really good player. There's not a lot of fret wear. I mean, there is some very light, slight flattening to the frets, but overall, it's a great player. And the neck profile, I would say it's definitely a pretty slim 60s, as you're used to on these 70s and 80s customs. Once again, you have double Tim Shaw humbuckers. Honestly, there's not too much gold tarnishing to them. I just mainly point out the sides of the bridge pickup, but beautiful ink stamped 83s there. Once again, you have your adjusting bridge and tailpiece. And the knobs on these are beautiful and aged. I do love. This whole example is just perfect. Condition-wise, you can see that line right there. Now, I know what you're thinking, and it's exactly what I thought when I bought this guitar. That's probably the 3-piece top seam line showing right there, as they usually will do. But no, that is not what that is. If I get it in the light just right, you can see the seam line is actually right there. So what that looks like to me is someone was adjusting the height of the neck pickup and their screwdriver slipped and because it's kind of a light little dotted line. It's not a crack, it's not a repair, it's nothing to worry about, it's strictly cosmetic, but it is there. And if you're familiar with owning a black guitar, you're gonna know that there's gonna be, scratches, nicks and dings all over this thing. Something else to point out is there must have been something in the case or maybe something taped to it at one point in time. It kind of left a wear mark there. I mean, I tried polishing it off. As you can see from this angle, it's not too apparent now. It used to be more apparent, but polishing did a good job, so I don't know if you can get that off even more, but it is there. It's kind of sticker residue-ish, but I think it's kind of actually etched into the finish. So I wouldn't plan on being able to take it off, but you might be able to. But you've got some nicks and dings from playing and some scratches, polishing swirls, the works on the front. But back of the headstock here, you can see serial number 811 83598, made in USA. Once again, your flip out tuners. No volute on this, that ended in 81, so we're a couple years after that. You've got some scratches and nicks and dings and some light finish checking, but overall, nothing too bad. The back of the neck, you do have a little bit of wear in the clear coat here. It's like somebody's ring dotted against it. But overall, besides that, it's not in too bad of shape. I will note that along the sides of the binding, you do have that line running up and down. And what that is, that's where the binding truly ends. Because the binding that you see right here, it actually goes a little bit deeper into the neck. And that's where that line forms because it's just a weak spot naturally. You'll see this on white customs all the time. as well as black customs. But you do have that. I will say up here, it looks like there's a little area here where they caught that with their ring or their thumb or something that chipped the finish a little bit, but no breaks, cracks, or repairs. But I do want you to know about those finish checks right there. Back of the guitar definitely shows some buckle wear, as you can see here once I get in the light, as well as other handling wear. But you know, it's just a really nice player. It's not mint condition. Sure, you could polish it up and make it look better than it does now, but honestly, this thing just needs played. That's all it needs. Original electronics. I mean, this guitar is as stock as it can get, and it has all the cool 80s stuff. That's what I really like about like the 83 year, because that's when all of these things were kind of out to play. So overall, 80s custom. I remember when I was first looking at Les Paul customs, I had it in my head, anything after 79's garbage. I didn't want to touch an 80s Les Paul. Then here, you know, what is it, 4 or 5 years later, 80s are some of my favorite Les Pauls. It's just, you really got to learn the history of some of these guitars to truly appreciate it. So make sure you check out those videos on all these cool 80s parts. Take a look under black light here. You can see everything is good on the face of the headstock. And the body here is in good shape too. You can kind of see that clear coat lacquer wear there, as we talked about earlier. It's not a crack. I don't believe it's been touched up. Somebody might have took a magic marker to it or something, but that just looks like what normal clear coat wear looks like. So everything else is good on the top here. There you can kind of see what I was talking about earlier. It is kind of lightly etched into the finish there, but the knobs are glowing as the way they should, as are the pickup rings. Back of the headstock here, you can see that little line right there. That's where the wing was joined to the neck, so it's nothing to worry about there. It's not coming apart. It's just a light separation line, but nothing to worry about. No breaks, cracks, or repairs on this one. You always have to be very careful buying black guitars because it's easy to hide repairs with a dark, solid finish like that. Back of the neck, there you can see those finish wear I was talking about earlier. But, I mean, overall, this is a player's grade custom, but it's, original, but it's just not, 100% clean shape, so a collector doesn't necessarily want it, unless they don't mind a little bit of wear, which this one definitely has. You can see that area there, a finish breaking ding. Neck pocket's good. The sides do have some light wear, but overall, once again, good player. For an 80s custom, this one actually has a pretty nice weight on it at 9 pounds, 13.6 ounces. The cleans will be running through a Gibson Super Gold Tone GA30 RV. The dirty tones come from a Marshall JMP 1C.